Hello there, I'm Sherlock Spies, and I have a mystery to solve.
Oh boy, I love mysteries.
No, not today, Scoob. This is a solo mystery.
Okay.
Anyways, today I'm going to try and solve a very important mystery. A mystery that I've always wanted to find the answer to. Where did Nathan Spies' Geoffrey the Giraffe costume come from? More specifically, which Toys R Us location did his costume come from? In case you're living under a rock, Nathan Spies bought a Geoffrey the Giraffe costume on eBay for $800 back in January 2023. Ever since then, he's been wondering about its origins. So he contacted me to see if I could solve this mystery. Well, to you, Nathan, I'll give it a shot. Now for this mystery, I have 3 possible theories, but before I explain those, I decided to interview a few close friends of Geoffrey to hear where they think Geoffrey came from. All of them wish to remain anonymous.
Why are you asking me? I don't know, I wasn't born yet.
He came from Toys R Us. He was made so the company could bring in more customers.
Where did Geoffrey come from? Well, he was created by Toys R Us founder Charles Lazarus in the 1950s. We both got our start around the same time and became best friends.
Well, when a mommy giraffe and a daddy giraffe love each other, they...
Yeah, I didn't have any luck with Geoffrey's friends, which meant I'm gonna have to solve this mystery on my own. Anyways, on to my theories. My first theory for where this Geoffrey costume came from is none other than good old Canada. I have 2 pieces of evidence to support this theory, the main one being the actual origins of the costume prior to being used at Toys R Us. You see, this costume was made by the company International Mascots, a company that just so happens to be located in Edmonton, Canada. So even if this specific costume isn't from a Canadian Toys R Us location, it still has Canadian origins, since that's where he was built. The other piece of evidence is located on the large storage crate the costume comes in. Just below one of the locks is a sticker, and while it is worn out, it clearly says Made in Canada. There's a chance this could be where this costume specifically came from, or that's just where the storage box is from. However, despite the evidence, there's one pretty major fact that disproves this theory. So as you should already know, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy and shut down all their stores in 2018. However, the closure only applied to the United States and some other countries. In other parts of the world, Toys R Us is still thriving, most notably, Canada. So since Toys R Us is still around in Canada, there's almost no chance that this Geoffrey costume is from a Canadian store. The only way that this costume could be from a Canadian store is either that it came from a closed location in Canada, or a location that is still in operation got a new costume and decided to get rid of this one, and somehow it ended up in the hands of the eBay seller. And by the way, I'll talk more about the eBay seller later in the video. So in terms of this being the correct theory, that it is not, but we still have 2 others to go over. The second theory isn't as good as the other 2, but it's still worth bringing up. My second theory for where Geoffrey came from is Lake Worth, Florida. The main reason I think this is because of the only piece of evidence for this claim, the shipping label. Now I've censored most of the label for privacy reasons, but you can clearly see the mention of Lake Worth, Florida. However, that's where this theory ends, as I did some research and what I found out doesn't add up. First and most importantly, there was no Toys R Us in Lake Worth, Florida, though some were located around the area. Second, when I put the address on the shipping label into Google Earth, I found a distribution center. So my guess is when the package with the costume was shipped out, it was sent to this distribution center in Lake Worth, Florida, before then making its way to Louisville. So that now leaves me with the question of where did this costume originate from before it went to Lake Worth, Florida? Well, luckily I have the answer. My final theory is, in my opinion, my strongest theory. And that's the theory that Geoffrey is from California. More specifically, Stockton, California. There's tons of evidence to support this being the correct answer to Geoffrey's origins. First and foremost, there was a Toys R Us in Stockton, California, as well as a standalone Babies R Us location, a few miles away. So it could have been from one of those. Which, speaking of Babies R Us, remember the video where Nathan first opened the crate containing Geoffrey? Well, what else was in that crate? Babies R Us fabric softener sheets. So you would think it came from the Babies R Us location, right? Well, no. There's actually one more Toys R Us location in Stockton, California. But it's not a location, but rather, a distribution warehouse. So maybe the costume was from there? But we'll get back to this later. There's one more piece of evidence to support my theory, and that goes all the way back to the original eBay listing. Thankfully, the listing was archived by yours truly, and as you can see, the listing is from, you guessed it, Stockton, California. Also, take note of the product image. That looks more like a warehouse than a store or at someone's house. This leads me to believe that the costume was originally from the warehouse, or was sent to the warehouse after the bankruptcy. So, what now? Well, I decided to finally get some closure on this whole mystery. To find the true answer to the question of the Geoffrey costume's origins, I reached out to the original eBay seller, who goes by the name ComputerBroken72, to see if they had the answer. 2 days later, I got a response, the answer that I and many of you have been waiting for. The origins of Nathan's Geoffrey the Giraffe mascot costume and what state or city it was originally from was, drumroll please, the Stockton, California warehouse. This is it. This is the real answer straight from the seller's mouth. But now there's just one more thing I wanted to do for the video. And that would be putting together all the evidence and theories I created into a possible timeline for how Nathan's Geoffrey costume got to Louisville, Kentucky. So first, the costume was created by International Mascot in Edmonton, Canada, sometime around 2004 or 2005. Then it was sent to the Toys R Us distribution warehouse in Stockton, California, where it either was sent to a nearby location and was used until the bankruptcy, or just stayed at the warehouse for the next almost 2 decades. In January 2023, Nathan bought the costume and it was shipped out 2 days later. It was then shipped to the Lake Worth, Florida distribution center, and probably made a few stops here and there before finally being brought to Louisville and delivered to Nathan on January 28, 2023. And with that, this case is closed. Mystery solved. Now you and I finally know the true origins of the Geoffrey costume Nathan is now in the possession of. If you have any questions, let me or Nathan know in the comments section down below. Please like, share, and consider subscribing, since I did some detective work, and only 17% of viewers are subscribed to this channel. And it would make Nathan's day if you click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I don't know if I will ever see you all again, as I'm a very popular and busy detective around here, but you never know. Hey, who are you? Well, that's my cue to get out of here, so until next time, bye-bye!